Hi, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Dino Chiecchi. I'm a professor in the School of Journalism and Mass Communication, and I'm here with a very distinguished group of students. Student leaders, I refer to them as, because frankly they are. I want to thank all of them for joining us today. We're going to get to know each and every one of them, talk about who they are, their backgrounds, and their goals. So I'm looking forward to it. I want to introduce each of them briefly, and then we'll talk to them in greater detail a bit later. To my immediate right is Elissa Jorgensen. To her right is Lesdy Hernandez, and to her right is Kobe Arriaga. So Elissa, you're a student here at Texas State University.
Yes.
Tell us why.
Wow. I guess my main goal was just to find a place that was pretty but also helpful for my education, and not too far away from home, but also not too close because I do have 3 younger siblings, so it makes it a little bit difficult.
Yeah.
But I just loved the campus, and when I first toured, I felt like it could be home, and so here I am.
Is it?
I think so, yes.
Yeah?
I've been here this is my 5th year, so I think, yes, I can say that it is home.
Tell us about the fact that you're a first-gen student. Talk about that for us a little bit, would you?
So both of my parents went to college, but neither of them got a degree. They just didn't make it all the way through. They're very successful people, but they don't really have the knowledge behind what it takes to go to college, the application process, what it's like, all of those things. And I guess I felt sort of like a desire to take my family name and be the first to have these experiences, and be the first to have a degree and go through the process. And it was really difficult at first because I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
And I think I got really lucky because my high school best friend had an older sister, and her older sister was, I think, about 3 years older than us, so she went to college before us. So I had her parents to talk to about the process.
So that's how you got around the fact that your parents didn't know what they didn't know, in other words. So you had somebody mentor you and walk you through the steps on how to apply for financial aid or whatever the documentation is to take care of.
Yes.
So you found somebody who walked you through it.
For the most part, I'm a very independent person, and so if I didn't ask someone, I just figured it out myself. So
yeah, very good. Lesdy, you're also a first-gen student.
I am.
Talk to us about you, your background, your hometown.
Yeah, so I'm actually from Laredo, Texas. Yeah, I always knew I wanted to attend college. I just had my mindset on another school, and it was actually because of one of my band directors. His name is Joseph Trevino. He's a Texas State alumni, and when I told him I wanted to pursue journalism, he helped me, hey, look at this program. He introduced me to the University Star, and I got into researching, and that's how I chose Texas State. But my parents didn't, obviously, I'm the first in my family to attend college, so they try to help me in the best way that they can, and they did. But stuff like applying to university, completing my FAFSA form, it was something that was very, very new, and I had a lot of trouble with it, but my band director and then my cousins who have gone to college, they helped me out with that.
Tell us what the Star is for our audience and how that helped you.
Yeah, so the University Star is the Texas State student-run newspaper. I am in the news section. I'm a news reporter and have been this is my 2nd year with them. It's been really cool. It's been a really cool experience because I've been able to interview and talk to a lot of different people, meet a lot of different people, write about really important stories, and just in general, I have been able to open myself up to Texas State. I kind of wish sometimes that I had applied during my freshman year because I've been able to make friends and go to places that I never would have gone without the Star. But yeah, and it's what I want to do once I graduate, so it's really cool.
Wonderful, thank you. Kobe, you're also a first-gen student. Tell us about yourself, your hometown, and Texas State. Why here?
Yeah, I mean, I am a first-gen student. You know, I kind of had to go through everything on my own. Not necessarily completely alone, but just kind of having to go through certain things and learning, you know, the kind of in and outs of college and community college as well. I was born and raised in Laredo, Texas, and so I got my high school diploma from United High School. And by the time I kind of realized I wanted to be, you know, a broadcaster or a journalist, I kind of had already, it was a little bit too late at that point. You know, I wasn't really kind of taking school serious. I never really was an academically successful person until my senior year, whenever, you know, I had the opportunity to be the sports anchor for United High School. So essentially, once all of that kind of came down, I really fell in love with, you know, what broadcast is, what journalism is, and, you know, it kind of just started off, it sparked really a passion for me. So personally, I think everything happens for a reason, right? So I think everything for me just happened all at once, so really fast. But once I really fell in love with it, I feel like, you know, there were certain people that were put in my life to help me get to where I'm at now. And for me, going to community college and having to transfer out here to Texas State as a junior, I feel like it all kind of worked out for me, you know? Like, I couldn't really have planned it out, but it worked out for me for sure.
Kobe, why did you select Texas State? Tell me about that process.
For me, I really wanted to cover Division I collegiate athletics, and I felt like Texas State was really just the pinpoint on the map, like for me to really be able to cover collegiate athletics and be able to get accepted and be admitted into the school. It just seemed realistic for me in terms of, you know, GPA and college hours and things like that. So it just kind of made sense for me to come here, and honestly, I think I made the right decision. I love this place, I love this city, I love this school, and everybody that I've met has truthfully, honestly, been very impactful in my life, and I love almost everybody that I've met here.
You mentioned Division I sports.
Correct.
Is your goal to pursue a career covering sports?
I would say so. Sports has really always been my life. It's been something that I've just been obsessed with since I was a child. I was kind of, you know, raised with a ball in my hand, whether it was a football or a basketball or a baseball, and so I grew to be 5'7", and so I was never really like, oh, I'm gonna be playing sports for Texas State University. It was always like, hey, maybe I could be the broadcast, I could be the photographer, I could be, you know, the journalist. And so when I got to Texas State, the first thing that I did, it took me nearly a week. I would say it took probably about 4 days. I found an opportunity, I got it, you know, scored an interview with the University Star to become the next sports contributor, and I got hired on the spot really by my old friend Carson Weaver. He was the sports editor at the time and ultimately became the editor-in-chief at the Star. He saw, you know, the potential in me, the passion, you know, my love for sports, and really I had told him that I came here for a reason. The reason why I came to Texas State was to cover Division I athletics. It was not for anything else. I told him I didn't want any distractions, you know, so luckily I was able to kind of talk myself into, you know, just becoming the sports contributor. And so that right there was really just the start. I feel like it only went up from there, really. I just started learning and building new skills, and ultimately he put a camera in my hands and he told me to, you know, go out, take some photos at football practice, and that's something that I truly fell in love with. I never really honestly saw myself as a photographer, and now I sit here as a multimedia editor for the University Star, and so I've done a lot of work. I've built so many different skills, and I've met so many different people and made, you know, a bunch of different connections that ultimately, like I said, it just kind of played out, you know, and it worked out, and I feel like everything just happens for a reason, and so.
Very good, thank you. Elissa, you are a graduate student in mass communication, is that correct? Tell us about the progression and how you got to that from where you began.
All right, so I began my first year at Texas State as a English major, and I completed I completed my bachelor's in 3 years, so I was kind of in and out, and I finished with the bachelor's in English and a minor in journalism. And so my main goal was to go into publishing and help edit and basically release books. But my last semester of my undergrad, I was given an opportunity by yours truly, and I wrote some stories about the Uvalde mass shootings that were published in the Austin American Statesman and some audio for Texas Standard. And I found myself in a rut because I didn't know if I wanted to pursue publishing or if I wanted to continue down the journalism path. And so I was like, you know what, I already have a degree in English, so I'm just going to apply for grad school for the English department. And so I did, and I got in, and I got a job. I secured a job as a graduate assistant. I was all set. And then I got contacted by another professor for the School of Journalism and Mass Comm, and she was like, I think you're doing the wrong thing, basically. And I was like, well, crap. I was like, I thought I was on the right path. I thought I was doing what I thought was right. And she was like, we should talk about this. And I was like, okay. And so I had a Zoom call with her, and this was like a week before the graduate applications were like final, like due, like that was the deadline. And she told me, she was like, I think you should be in the Mass Comm program. You're really good at what you do, and I don't think you're gonna get as well-rounded as you need to be if you continue with literature and English. And I was like, okay, well, I already thought I had it figured out, and I only have a week to figure out if I'm gonna change it. Yeah. And so I told her, I was like, I already have a job, I'm already in the program, I can't sustain myself without a job, so I don't know if I can join the Mass Comm program. And she was like, well, I can help you with that. And so I became a graduate assistant for the Mass Comm program, and I applied for the Mass Comm program, and I got in, and I emailed the English department, and I was like, hey guys, sorry, I changed my mind. And so now here I am, and this is my second year in the grad program. I graduate next semester.
So what role did getting published in one of the state's top 5 papers play in your decision?
I think it made me realize that while I do really enjoy reading, I love reading fiction stuff, that interviewing people and hearing their stories and being the person to tell them, like when their words need to be heard and nobody else is listening to them, is something that I really want to do. And I really enjoy helping people, and I love to listen, and I love to write. And so I figured this is one of the best ways to do it. So
you got the bug.
I did.
You got the bug.
I got bitten. Yeah.
Wow. Leslie, you're also a journalism major. Talk to us about your adventures in journalism and where you hope that leads you.
Well, it first started at VMT. I was in the print journalism program. I know sometimes we call it fine arts and stuff, but and I fell in love with just talking about, just hearing people talk about their stories and sharing their experiences and stuff that has happened. And I've been able to do that more with the Star. And I'm a big writer. I love writing. I love reading too. And I've always dreamt of one day writing a book or something and stuff like that. But being able to talk with people and write these articles, and someone out there is going to read them and feel, impacted in some sort of way, or even just sharing their story is really important to me.
Tell us about your first front page story and how that felt.
Oh God.
You remember it?
No. Oh.
Or have you had that many? You can't remember the one.
No. No. Oh God. I remember being very excited about it, and I got the paper. I always pick it up at the quad here on campus, and I remember I got it and I saw it and I got really excited, and I took a picture and I sent it to my parents, and my parents posted it on Facebook, and it was a whole thing. Gosh, I really don't remember what it was though.
Okay.
But I know I was very excited about it.
Kobe, you are a multimedia journalist in the sense that you've written, you're taking pictures, you're doing other stuff. You're really well-rounded. Talk to us about that.
Thank you. Yeah, being that I was a transfer student, I got to Texas State as a junior, and I kind of knew that, I wasn't going to have 4 years to kind of build all of these skills, so I was going to have to kind of crunch everything in together. At least for me, when I got here, the one thing I wanted to do was be well-rounded. I mean, I knew I've always been a writer. I felt like I was born a writer, and that's definitely a talent that I had, but there were other things that I didn't know. I didn't know I was a good communicator. I didn't know I was a great photographer. These are things that I kind of had to pick up and kind of learn on myself, but at the same time had to teach myself and use my resources. For example, yourself, you were a big mentor for me. And so that was the one thing when I got here, was to find and seek mentorship and just to be well-rounded. I remember telling everybody, is like, I want to do this and I want to do that. And, some people would tell me to, find your niche and, have that one good thing. And I think for me, that would be, probably a toss between writing and photography, but for the most part, I knew that I could be well-rounded, and I knew I'd had the versatility to be able to learn and build new skills while I was here. And granted, like I said, I was only going to be here for 2 years, and so I kind of had to really, I guess I had to figure out exactly what I wanted to do with my 2 years and my time here, and I knew that I didn't want to waste it. I didn't want to, kind of just throw it all away. So the first thing I did was to just start grinding, so that's really all I've been doing.
So Kobe, what's next?
I feel like that's probably the one thing that scares me the most, just because I'm not sure. I mean, uncertainty is always uncomfortable, but I believe that everything happens for a reason, like I said. And for me, truthfully, I have found a love in photography. I would love to be a photographer, but at the same time, I know that I can utilize my skills as a writer to get there. I can utilize my skills as, a communicator or a broadcaster potentially. And so ultimately, my dream goal, when I started this, the one thing I ever wanted to do is to be a sports commentator for basketball, for football, for multiple different sports. And so I think that's still the goal to this day, is definitely sports commentating.
When do you graduate?
I graduate this December, so I'll be graduating in just a few months now. So yeah, it's definitely tough to say goodbye, given the fact that I've only been here 2 years, and it feels like a long time, but at the same time, it feels like I still have a little bit more to give to this city. But ultimately, it is what it is. Like I said, I set it out to where I was going to be here for 2 years, and so that time is up, and it flew right past me, if I'm being honest with you.
Okay. Lesdy, when do you graduate?
Graduate next December.
Next December?
Yes, so I have one more year.
So you've been on the STAR staff for how long?
This is my second year.
Okay. What are your goals with respect to the STAR?
I don't know. I kind of want to write more kind of feature focusing on just people's stories. I've kind of been doing that these past couple of months. And I don't know. I kind of just want to take advantage of this 1 year, because like I said, I wish I had applied my freshman year. So if I can do everything that I can there, any stories or anything like that, I'm gonna take it.
Very good. Okay. Elissa, we threw a wrench in your plans, didn't we?
You really did.
We threw a big wrench in your plans. So from book publishing,
But I used that wrench. So
it's a good wrench.
So here we are.
So what's next?
That's always one of the most difficult questions.
Yeah.
I think I'm still figuring it out. I've actively started applying for jobs because I graduate in the spring, and I still want to go into some sort of publishing. That's the ultimate goal. But I love writing, and I know that it can get me there, and so that's what I'm aiming for right now.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, folks, we're almost out of time. I want to thank each and every one of our panelists for joining us today. Thank you very much, folks. You guys were terrific. I hope that you feel a lot more comfortable now than you did at the beginning. Thank you, folks.
Thank you.
And folks, that's it for us. I want to thank you for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the conversation. And reach out to us if we can help you in any way. Thank you very much. Have a good day.